Derek is exploring an abandoned house sitting alone on top of a hill, completely isolated from everything else around it. For reasons that aren't exactly clear, he chose to go inside by himself, recording as he moves through the decaying rooms and empty hallways. The place looks unstable, quiet in a way that makes every small sound feel louder than it should. Then he pauses, convinced he hears someone or something inside with him, a noise that doesn't sound like the building settling.
Hermaphrodite. Oh man, this is fun. Dude, I think I hear somebody. I think I hear something. Oh shit. Out. I'm out. Oh shit. Ate asshole right there. I literally ate shit coming down that hall.
Suddenly, a massive bang erupts from somewhere inside the house, loud enough to shake him out of any doubt. He immediately turns and sprints out of the building as fast as he possibly can, not stopping until he's outside and putting distance between himself and the structure. He only begins to calm down once he reaches his motorcycle, and without wasting another second, he starts it and rides away, leaving whatever made that noise behind in the house on the hill. In the following video, Jose is inside a reportedly haunted hospital at 6:40 in the morning, a time when the building should be completely still. As he records, distinctive movement sounds can be heard coming from deeper within the structure, not random creaks, but steady noises, like something shifting or walking. He stops to listen, and the sounds suddenly cut off, leaving a heavy silence in their place.
Shit, no matter.
He slowly pans his camera toward a corridor ahead, and a white wisp-like shape crosses from one side to the other, before a door at the end of the hallway slams shut with force. The moment is clear on camera, the movement too defined to brush off as dust or light, and there's no visible reason for the door to move. With no wind and no one else inside, it feels less like coincidence and more like a presence making itself known. Jose doesn't stay much longer after that, choosing to leave the hospital soon after capturing the footage. In this clip, a man named Diaz is recording from the window of his home in Mexico after hearing strange screams echoing through his neighborhood. The sounds are loud and drawn out, almost like an animal in distress, but there's something off about them, something that doesn't match any normal wildlife people are used to hearing. He scans the street and nearby areas with his camera, clearly confused, trying to locate the source.
Dios mío. Dios mío, santo. Mami, algo le está pasando al muchacho, gorda. ¿Escuchas? Vamos a ver. Oh no.
Despite the volume of the screams, there's nothing visible outside. No animals running, no people, no movement at all. The neighborhood looks completely still, which only makes the noise feel more unnatural. Diaz keeps recording, unsure if what he's hearing has a normal explanation or if it's something far stranger, echoing through the night. Later on, Diaz is walking through the neighborhood at night, still unsettled by the screams, when he hears something even more disturbing coming from a particular house. This time, it sounds like a man in pain, his voice strained and emotional, echoing out into the street. Diaz moves closer, circling the house cautiously as the noise continues. There's shouting now, loud pounding sounds, and at one point what clearly sounds like glass shattering from inside.
Dios santo. Oh my God. Vecino. You okay? No. 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 Dios te bendiga. No. ¿Necesitas ayuda? ¿Necesitas ayuda? Dios te bendiga. Vengo en el nombre de Jesús. En el nombre de Jesús. Vengo en el nombre de Jesús. Dios te libre. Dios te guarde, vecino. Dios te guarde. Dios te guarde. Jesús de Nazaret. Jesús. Jesús.
He looks through a window and can see someone inside, visibly angry and distressed, moving erratically as if arguing with Diaz through the window, which indicates they know one another. The behavior feels intense and unnatural, leading some viewers to wonder if it could be some kind of possession rather than a normal argument. Diaz keeps speaking calmly from outside, trying to soothe the situation with his voice, repeatedly saying the name Jesus until the chaos inside seems to settle, leaving the house quiet once again. He later finds himself inside his own house for once, still recording with the tension from earlier events clearly weighing on him as the atmosphere feels heavy and silent. Out of nowhere, a firm knocking sound hits the door he is facing, loud enough to echo through the space and make him freeze in place. It happens again, deliberate and controlled, not like something falling or shifting naturally.
Gente, son las 2 de la mañana, me intentaron abrir la puerta, bueno, la tocaron primero y la intentaron como abrir. Luego pues yo me fui al cuarto de las niñas. A ver, ahí está otra vez. Vean, pero vean que no es nadie. Son las 2 de la mañana. Exactamente. Vean. No es nadie. Y ese güey que... Pinche gato feo, ya te había visto yo por aquí. La sangre de Cristo te reprenda. Mari, tráeme la sal. Tráeme la sal, Mari, tráeme la sal, corre.
Diaz quickly moves, circling through the house to check the front window to see if someone could have caused it. But outside there is nothing that makes sense. No people, no movement, no sign of anyone walking away. The only thing visible is a single cat sitting still and staring directly toward him through the window. It does not move, does not react, just watches in an unsettling way that feels too focused to be normal. After everything he has already experienced that night, even something ordinary like a cat feels wrong, leaving viewers questioning whether this is coincidence or if something unseen is continuing to follow him from place to place. In the most normal situation possible, Dave is in the bathroom when he suddenly hears a strange beeping sound coming from downstairs, specifically from the direction of his fridge. Confused and a little uneasy, he heads down the steps toward the basement to check it out, camera in hand. When he gets there, the fridge door is wide open for no clear reason, the beeping echoing in the quiet space as he films it. Clearly unsure what he is looking at, he stays on the steps for a while, just watching, like he is waiting for something else to happen.
Right, I just started recording again. Because I'm sat on the toilet and I can hear something beeping downstairs, and the only thing that beeps like that is the fridge. Oh, like if it only beeps like that when the fridge door is open. I don't even want to look. Oh my. What the f... I'm just gonna sit here. Whoa, did that wire just move? No. Whoa, what the f... What the f... Did you see that? The fuck? Oh no. It's actually moving, man. It looks like a snake or some shit. What the f... Lampshades going as well. They're like moving towards it. Whoa! No! No! No!
After a few tense seconds, a wire sitting in a bowl on top of the fridge slowly begins to move, sliding upward and extending out of the bowl in a way that looks almost alive, hanging forward like a snake stretching towards something. At the same time, a nearby lampshade starts shifting in its direction, both objects moving toward each other unnaturally until items suddenly spill out from inside the fridge. There is no one else down there, nothing touching them, which makes the entire scene feel less like coincidence and more like something unseen is controlling the space around him. During a canine search of the Watts family home connected to an unpublished crime, officers were carefully moving through the house with their dogs, checking each room methodically while documenting everything on camera. The atmosphere already feels tense, not just because of the case, but because of how quiet and heavy the house seems, like the walls themselves are holding on to something. At one point, they focus on a specific room, guiding the dog inside while the camera keeps rolling. Nothing visibly out of place, just officers doing their job and calling out routine instructions to each other.
Here's a pair of her shorts.
Later, while reviewing the footage, something chilling is discovered. A voice can be heard clearly saying, "This is our home," even though none of the officers reacted at the time, and no one in the room remembers hearing it. The fact that it was only captured on the recording and went unnoticed in the moment makes it feel even more unsettling, as if whatever said it was not meant for them to hear directly. It adds a whole new layer of unease to an already disturbing investigation. But this isn't the only thing they heard that night. They continue the search by moving into the garage area, scanning for anything that could be connected to the case, their eyes passing over shelves, storage boxes, and tools, while the K9 unit sniffs along the ground. Nothing looks obviously disturbed, and the officers speak in low, routine tones, focused entirely on the task at hand, unaware that the camera may be catching more than just the investigation itself.
Yes, very organized, very clean.
During later review of the footage, another unsettling detail surfaces. A faint whisper can be heard, quiet but distinct, saying something told her, the words slipping into the audio without any clear source. Once again, none of the officers in the garage reacted in the moment, and no one recalls hearing a voice while they were inside. The fact that multiple unexplained voices are being picked up only through the recording begins to paint a disturbing pattern, making the house feel less like an empty crime scene and more like a place still occupied by something unseen. For many viewers, moments like this practically confirm the location's haunted reputation, especially when the people present never heard a thing at the time. Ahmed was just sitting back, watching TV in his house, when he heard a few sharp knocks coming from somewhere inside the house. At first he ignored it, but when it happened again, he grabbed his phone and started recording.
Vea, mi gente, yo realmente no creía mucho en estas cosas. Yo vivo totalmente solo. ¿Escucharon la puerta? ¿Escucharon? No seas picha. Yo vivo solo, aquí no hay nadie. Se los juro, yo vivo totalmente solo. No puede ser, o sea, no puede ser. Estoy cagado. No puede ser. No puede ser. Estoy cagado. No puede ser. Dios. ¿Qué mierdas? No seas tan mamón. No. No puede ser. No puede ser. No puede ser. Uy, Dios. No. No. Vea, les juro que acabo de escuchar no sé si vieron la maldita silla moviéndose. No puede, maldita ser posible. Vea, yo estoy solo, yo vivo con nadie, no hay hilos. No puede ser. Ay, Dios. No hay nadie, no hay ni mierda, no hay nadie. No hay ni una mierda, no hay nadie. Ay, no. Mierda. ¿Qué hago? Mierda. No puede ser. ¡Ay, puta! ¡Mierda! No.
As the camera rolls, a few more knocks echo through the room, clear and deliberate. Ahmed slowly stands up and approaches the door, hesitating before pulling it open, only to find nothing there at all. No one in the hallway, no movement, just silence. Trying to shake it off, he walks down the corridor to check the other rooms. That's when something even stranger happens. A piece of furniture in the next room, what looks like a sofa at first glance, suddenly slides a short distance across the floor on its own. Startled, Ahmed backs away and retreats to his bedroom, shutting the door behind him as fast as he can. Almost immediately, the knocking starts again, this time sounding closer, like something is trying to get back in. After a few moments, he works up the courage to leave the room and return to the same spot. This time, he realizes it wasn't even a sofa that moved. It was a stool, now sitting out of place in the middle of the room. He pushes it back to where it was, clearly shaken, and once again retreats to his bedroom, locking himself inside. The noises don't stop, and by the end of the recording, Ahmed admits this wasn't the first time something like this had happened. After everything he's experienced in that house, he's now seriously considering selling the property and leaving it behind for good. In this next clip, popular YouTuber Narrated is casually vlogging, talking to his audience about something strange that happened to him earlier that day. At first, it feels like a normal story time. He explains that he heard unexplained noises in his house and felt like someone else was there with him, but he brushes it off, half joking as he talks it through.
I want you to tweet me and put in some comments any story that you guys have, or any like moments of like, I don't know if I can explain that, or what is going on. If you believe in ghosts, if you don't believe in ghosts, I want to hear from you guys, man, because maybe here's something I should be doing in here to stop it. I have no idea, but yeah, I just want to share it with you guys. Really.
As he starts wrapping up the video, talking to the camera, something unsettling happens in the background. For just a split second, a white, mist-like apparition appears behind him, clearly humanoid in shape before fading out almost instantly. Narrated doesn't react at all and continues talking, completely unaware of what the camera just captured. It's only after viewers rewatched the footage frame by frame that the figure was noticed, sparking a wave of comments pointing it out. Whether it was a coincidence or something genuinely unexplained, the fact that it appeared right as he finished recounting the experience makes the moment feel disturbingly well-timed. After that moment went viral, Narrated decided to take things a step further. Instead of just vlogging, he set up a camera system inside his house, aiming it towards several different areas where he thought the noises might have been coming from. He left it running while he went about his day, hoping to catch something he couldn't explain. The footage cycles between different rooms in the house, switching every few seconds, all of them completely empty and still. Nothing seems out of place at first, until the feed returns to the kitchen. Without warning, the camera suddenly jolts and tips forward, crashing onto the floor as if it had been pushed. There's no one in the room, no pets nearby, and nothing visible that could have knocked it over. The recording cuts shortly after, leaving viewers with yet another unexplained moment inside the same house. Paired with the earlier apparition caught behind him on camera, it's no surprise fans started questioning whether whatever he joked about at the start was actually very real. Sarah is in her house late at night, filming again in hopes of finally catching whatever has been haunting the place for so long. She's talking calmly to the camera, explaining that the activity has been happening for weeks, when something interrupts her mid-sentence.
esta casa se ha limpiado muchísimas veces porque la gente no dura rentando. Rompe el contrato por una u otra cosa y tuvimos que venirla a limpiar el día de hoy porque ya mañana se van a mover. Se las quiero enseñar. Lo raro es que dice el realtor que no dura la gente. Esta casa se ha limpiado muchísimas veces porque rompe el contrato a la gente. No mames. Ya es noche. Estoy sola. Chingados, está ahí. No hay nada. Esta pinche casa la han rentado un chingo de veces. Y no sé por qué rompe el contrato la gente. Ay, no, déjenme regresar, sí, porque me dio cosas a la pinche puerta. Y dicen los señores que rentan aquí que miran demasiadas cosas. La gente no dura viviendo aquí, rompe el contrato, así que vamos a grabar un poquito para allá. Ese pinche cuarto ahí, no sé qué fregados es. Ya las muchachas me están esperando allá afuera. Miren, allá me da cosa. Tengo que prender la luz. Ahorita voy a ir a prender la luz para seguir grabando. ¿Te imaginas? Para que la gente rompa el contrato acá, es porque de plano no aguantan a vivir aquí. Y ahorita les voy a enseñar lo demás para allá. Déjenme prender la luz. ¿Dónde está la luz acá? Chingada madre. Ahí está. Ok, ahorita les voy a enseñar. Esta es una recámara. Se está poniendo ahorita tenso. Entonces, el señor dice que ya van varias familias que rompen el contrato. No sé qué es lo que pasó aquí. Nunca me ha dicho el realtor qué es lo que... Chingados, que... Nunca me ha dicho el realtor qué es lo que realmente ha pasado.
Behind her,
Pero sí la hemos limpiado varias veces porque no dura la gente. Y eso sí, la verdad es algo extraño, que no dure nadie. Yo no sé si tú has vivido en una casa así, donde te hayas tenido que haber salido por algo o roto el contrato. Ahorita les voy a enseñar qué es eso que se escucha. ¡Ey! ¿Andan acá? No mames. Espérenme. Iba a dejar grabando, pero la neta ya me está dando cosa. Se escucha el ruido para acá. No sé qué sea. Yo creo que me voy a tener que ir.
the bathroom door slowly opens on its own. She notices it a moment later and walks over, pushing it fully open and showing the camera inside to prove there's nothing there. Confident it was just another strange coincidence, she continues walking through the house, still talking as she goes. A few rooms later, she reaches a darker area where the pull string on a ceiling light is gently swaying back and forth, even though the air is completely still. She pauses, then pauses to turn the light on, brushing it off and continuing on. Eventually, she comes across another dark room, unaware of what is about to happen. In the doorway ahead of her, a completely blacked out figure slowly peeks out, its shape barely visible against the darkness before pulling back out of sight. Sarah never reacts and keeps talking as if nothing happened, but viewers immediately noticed it when she uploaded the footage. Whatever has been moving doors and lights in her house may have finally revealed itself, even if she didn't see it in the moment. The clip starts quietly, with the dog sitting stiffly at the window, completely fixated on the blinds like it's watching something only it can see. The woman filming notices how tense the dog is, and slowly zooms in toward the small gap between the blinds, almost as if she already knows there's something there.
Yep, I knew she's going. They're out there. As usual. Where's the remote? Okay, they're out there again. Dang, what'd it do? It backed off real fast when Champ come up. Dang, trying to hide from Champ? Whatever the heck that is out there. Now it's back. See, its eye blinking right in the window. Come here, kitty. I got to show Andy this video. He ain't believe this. There's no way he can not not see this. Kitty, if you don't get... That's it, I've had enough of...
Through the narrow opening, two faint glowing specks can be seen hovering outside in the darkness, positioned far too evenly apart to be a reflection or an animal she recognizes. She whispers to her dog, calling its name again and again, trying to get it to come back to her, but the dog doesn't respond at all. It doesn't flinch, doesn't turn around, just stares, frozen and mesmerized. Minutes pass, with her growing more panicked, raising her voice and begging the dog to move while the glowing shapes remain perfectly still, blinking just once. She later claims this wasn't the first time she'd seen something like this near her home, believing it could be what people refer to as the dogman. The video cuts abruptly with no resolution, leaving viewers unsettled by how long the dog stayed locked in place, and whatever it was watching just beyond the blinds. At around 9:35 at night, the camera starts rolling in near silence, except for the sound of a woman crying somewhere in the house, while a man quietly narrates what he's hearing. To clear up any doubt, he pans the camera toward the television to show it was just a movie. What happens next is far more relevant though. Take a look.
Actividad paranormal en mi casa.
Me acuerdo de cada expresión en su cara.
Bueno, me encuentro viendo una película, ya casi van a ser las 10 de la noche.
Todo lo que pasó cuando estaba con él, si de verdad fue real. Yo los vi.
Escuché cosas allá en la cocina y mire, están todos esos cajones de arriba abiertos y pues
Cuando 2 toneladas de metal se impactan contra Dios.
pensé que no iba a suceder nada hoy, pero...
No importa, es la verdad. Peleamos esa semana, ¿lo olvidaste? Ustedes tuvieron un épico verano. Y eso jamás lo olvidaré.
Fíjate, algo allá en la cocina.
Sí. Yo no lo olvidaré y solo era un espectador celoso. No puede ser. Es mi primer día de vuelta y ya estoy hecha un bodrio. Es cierto. Es la verdad.
Esos cajones se están moviendo solos.
anoche lo que pasó, pues lo lamento mucho. Si fueras mi hija, te diría que lo usaras.
He slowly turns the camera back toward the doorway leading into the kitchen, explaining that unexplained activity has been happening in his house for weeks now. As he edges closer, one of the kitchen cabinets suddenly slams shut on its own with a sharp bang, making him flinch, but not retreat. He steps fully into the kitchen, heart clearly racing, when another cabinet door snaps closed right in front of him. Then, as if reacting to his movement, a third cabinet slams shut as he gets closer to it. Trying to stay calm, he opens each cabinet one by one, showing they're empty and nothing inside could have caused them to move. No loose hinges, no drafts, no pets in the room. Whatever was making itself known didn't need the noise anymore. It had already proven it was there. In this final clip, CCTV footage from inside a building captures something that genuinely defies logic. The camera is fixed on a quiet doorway with no one anywhere in frame. For a while, nothing happens at all until it does.
Look at that. There's no way that could have failed by, like, somebody didn't do that. Something did that by itself. How could a ceiling light fall on its own like that? There's no way. No way.
Without warning, the ceiling light suddenly rips free and crashes straight down onto the floor below. There's no shaking beforehand, no visible trigger, no person nearby who could have touched it. Lights like that do not just fall on their own, especially in an empty, secured area. The impact echoes through the hallway, and the room is left completely still again, as if nothing happened. After reviewing the footage, staff confirmed nobody had entered the area before or after the incident. The security guard on duty that night reportedly resigned the very next day, saying the footage was enough for him. Whatever caused that light to fall was never identified, and the building has since gained a reputation among workers as a place you do not want to be alone in. In the following clip from the Epic Paranormal channel, the team leader is exploring an old jail in West Virginia, a place with a long history and a reputation for intense activity, especially in one specific cell block. As they walk through the narrow corridor, the atmosphere already feels heavy, and the investigator mentions feeling like something is right behind him. That uneasy feeling is what makes him pull out his camera and start recording.
Sorry, this camera's got a really bad autofocus.
It looked like there was a person there. Right there in front of me, it looked like there's a person. So, let me know what you think about that. Was it just the camera not focusing on the distal part of the sail? Or did you think it was something legitimate? I want to put this out there for people to comment on and get opinions. Thanks.
He slowly moves from cell to cell, shining his light across the walls, pointing out the strange drawings and writing carved into almost every surface, each one more unsettling than the last. While he's focused on documenting the markings inside a cell, he doesn't notice anything unusual in the moment. It's only later, when reviewing the footage, that something disturbing becomes clear. As he turns the camera back toward the corridor, a dark, human-shaped silhouette briefly appears behind him, standing silently before vanishing just as quickly. There's no sound, no movement caught on audio, just the unmistakable outline of what looks like a person where nobody should have been. The jail was empty, except for him, and there was nowhere for someone to hide or move that fast without being seen. That single frame changed everything, turning a routine investigation into one of their most chilling pieces of evidence yet. In this next clip, the narrator, Ashton, was reviewing old footage from a live stream when they noticed something that still gives them chills. At first glance, it looks completely normal. His mother is sitting calmly on the sofa, watching TV, unaware she's even being filmed. But if you look closely, there's something very wrong.
If you guys look next to my mother, you guys will see this weird looking figure on the right. My dad got a package that day at 20/20/10/14, 13/32/50. Now, as you can see, when he moved, it was still right there. Who was that on the couch with my mom? My sister was in the kitchen, I was upstairs, and my dad was doing a package. Who was that? Let's get a little closer look. I can't tell who that is. If you guys know who that is, comment down below, because I really cannot tell.
Sitting right beside her is a strange, human-shaped figure, close enough that their shoulders almost touch. It doesn't look solid, but it's not faint either. The shape has a head, a torso, and an unsettling posture, like it's deliberately seated there. What makes it worse is that everyone else in the house was busy in other rooms at the time, meaning no one should have been anywhere near her. The figure doesn't move, doesn't react, and disappears entirely by the time the camera angle changes. When Ashton showed the footage to his mother later, her reaction made it even creepier. She confirmed she never saw or felt anyone sitting next to her at all. She was completely alone, or at least she thought she was. Ashton says that since discovering this, he's gone back through other recordings, worried this wasn't the first time something like that had appeared near his family without them ever noticing. After settling into his new apartment just a week earlier, this man thought everything felt normal at first. The first night passed without issue, But on the second night, while lying in bed, he watched his bedroom door slowly open on its own. He brushed it off, telling himself it had to be air pressure or a faulty hinge. By the third night, though, things escalated. Around 11 p.m., he was relaxing in bed when he noticed something in the corner of the landing outside his room. It wasn't fully visible, just a faint shape, but he could clearly make out half of a face staring back at him. That's when he grabbed his phone and started recording.
Okay, so this is my apartment, guys. So I moved here in around July, and at least I think around, it was like last week I moved in. And the first day it was nice and peaceful and everything was good, but then, you know, while I was here in my bedroom, it's nothing, but all of a sudden lately I've been having very strange, kind of some weird paranormal type stuff where the doors opening by itself. And that was actually the second night. It was the second night. Then I think it was around 11. I was kind of in my office, but I was going to bed, and all of a sudden I look at this weird looking creepy apparition that was kind of exactly around right in the same air corner. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh crap. So I kind of ran. I'm like, what the heck is that? And it had hands, and I saw half of his face, but it looked like white, ghostly. I don't know what it is, but very weird. It was very weird. But then all of a sudden, it's just crazy. Oh snap! What the heck? What the heck? Hello? What the heck? Y'all see that? Man, that thing drove by itself, and there's no wind drag or nothing. Look at the fan. Look at that fan. The fan working. What the heck? Y'all saw that, right? This is what I'm talking about. It's doing it by itself. Nobody there. The frick is wrong with this? And to me, sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, but the air ain't on. And it usually come on. But goodness gracious, that was just weird. But this is what I'm talking about. And then 2 days ago, I decided, because I didn't get no videos from last week when I moved in. This time I had to do the video it was on Thursday. And I had my tripod, and I was like, okay, let me put this down and see what happens. Then all of a sudden, here comes a weird figure coming through the hallway. Coming through the dark hallway like it's crazy. Right in that corner. But the camera flipped the other way. It was the other way. So it was actually that way. But it was in that corner. So it's very weird. Well, very creepy stuff happening in my apartment. But I'm gonna need some paranormals out here. Man, I'll let you know if I see anything strange out there. But what you just saw, I think that there was no, I ain't seen, I don't know, I did not see nothing. And it just opened by itself. Nothing.
As he explains what he's been experiencing, trying to stay calm while clearly shaken, the unthinkable happens again. Right behind him, the bedroom door slowly opens on its own, almost on cue, as if responding to his story. He freezes for a moment before forcing himself out of bed, nervously talking through his confusion as he walks toward it. He looks around, showing there's nothing and no one that could have caused it, then shuts the door himself. The room falls silent, but the timing is impossible to ignore. For him, that was all the confirmation he needed that whatever he saw in the corner wasn't just his imagination, and whatever was in that apartment clearly wasn't done with him yet. Now the footage switches to a static camera he set up on the landing outside his bedroom, hoping that if something was really there, it would finally show itself without him being in the room. He leaves it recording overnight and doesn't check it until the next morning. What he finds is unsettling. The landing sits completely still for a while, empty and quiet, until a dark shape slowly appears from behind the edge of the doorway. It doesn't step out fully. Instead, it leans just enough for what looks like the outline of a head and shoulder to be visible, as if it's cautiously peeking into the hallway. The shape lingers there for a few seconds, unmoving, before slowly pulling back out of sight again. There's no light change, no shadow from passing cars, nothing that could explain it. After that moment, nothing else happens for the rest of the night. When he reviewed the clip, he said the position of the shadow lined up exactly with where he thought he saw the face the night before. Since setting up the camera, he hasn't slept properly, and he's now considering moving out entirely. Whatever was watching him that night clearly knew where he was, and worse, it seemed comfortable letting itself be seen. Franco was exploring a location that already had a reputation for being deeply unsettling, a place locals openly described as demonic, despite the religious crosses lining the area. Even before anything happened, the atmosphere felt wrong, heavy and quiet in a way that makes every sound stand out. He kept his camera rolling as he moved through the space, trying to document whatever he could.
What the hell is that? Hola? Hola? What was that? Hola? Holy, I literally saw something peeking out at me right over here.
While scanning the graveyard, something suddenly catches his attention behind a large cube. A pale, human-like face slowly peeks out from the side, just enough to be seen on camera. It lingers there for a moment, completely still, before retreating out of sight as if it realized it had been noticed. Franco immediately moves closer, rounding the cube to see who or what was hiding there. But there's nothing at all, and nowhere it could have escaped to. He even circles the area again, checking every angle, but the space is completely empty. Given the site's history and the number of people who've reported similar sightings, Franco believes this wasn't just his imagination. Whatever briefly revealed itself behind that cube didn't want to be seen for long, and it vanished just as quickly as it appeared. A man was sleeping on the couch late at night for reasons he never fully explains, positioned uncomfortably close to a life-size clown mannequin he kept in the room as part of a collection. The house was quiet, lights low, when the clock on the wall suddenly chimed 3 in the morning, loud enough to jolt someone awake, but not him. As the final chime echoes, the clown beside him begins to move. Its arm slowly rises out to the side, stiff at first, then lowers back down as if it completed a deliberate motion. Just when it seems to stop, the feet twitch slightly, wiggling against the floor for a brief moment before going completely still again. The man stays fast asleep, breathing heavily and becoming jittery. The mannequin doesn't move back, almost like it knows it's been caught. He later said the clown had no batteries, no internal mechanism, and had never moved before that night. After reviewing the footage multiple times, he decided the mannequin was no longer staying in his house. Some objects just feel wrong to keep around after something like that. Nick had been trying to communicate with what he believes is a presence in his house for weeks, but things didn't start feeling serious until one night when his dream catcher began spinning on its own above his bed. At first, he brushed it off, but then he heard faint tapping sounds that seemed to respond when he spoke, which is when he decided to start recording.
Okay guys, I've been trying to literally communicate with something. Like, there's no AC on, it's winter, this window's cracked, but this has been moving and I've been trying to communicate with whoever's here, but it's not really communicating back now, and I kept hearing tapping. But like, I just want to show you, like, this is a normal day in my house. Like, my mom is, these are the rooms, my mom is downstairs cooking dinner, and these rooms are a mess, I know. My mom is down here cooking dinner. So this is what I like experience on a day-to-day basis. Like, weird stuff like this just normally happens. And okay, I love that. What fell over in here now? I don't even know. Oh my god. And nothing. Oh. Okay, that's weird. Is there anyone here that can give me a sign?
The camera captures the dream catcher still rotating steadily, even though the air in the room is completely still and the window is closed. To prove everyone else was elsewhere, Nick steps out of the room for a moment and then comes back, showing that it never stops moving. Almost immediately after, a sudden scurrying sound comes from his ensuite bathroom, sharp and fast, like something darting across the floor. Nick walks in cautiously, filming every corner, but there's nothing there at all. No animals, no open vents, nothing that could explain the noise. Growing more uneasy, he asks out loud for a clear sign that something is really there. Seconds later, an object drops to the floor beside him with a loud thud, causing him to jump back in shock. There's no one else in the room, and nothing visibly touched it. For Nick, that was the moment things crossed from unsettling to impossible to ignore. It picks up exactly where the last clip left off, with Nick still trying to explain the tapping sounds out loud, saying how they seemed to answer him whenever he spoke. Almost on cue, another sharp tap echoes back from somewhere in the room, louder and closer this time. You can hear the tension in his voice as he immediately calls out to his brother to make sure he wasn't messing with him or trying to scare him, and his brother clearly denies it, sounding just as confused. Trying to stay calm, Nick starts explaining the tapping again, while walking toward a small storage room at the back of the house.
I keep hearing tapping. These walls are hollow. Whoa! Whoa! Okay. Aunt, where are you?
I'm right here.
Did you see that?
No, I heard it.
That's insane. So things have been pretty quiet, I guess not, but these walls are hollow, and we kept hearing tapping on the backs of the walls. And inside here, this is the only hollow room. This is like cement. So I don't know. Holy shit. What was that? Oh my god. Okay, well, now you can see there's no strings, no nothing. There's a wall of glass behind it. Oh my gosh. What was that?
My shoulder.
Oh.
The moment he steps inside, something behind him suddenly crashes to the floor. He spins the camera around to reveal a stack of CDs scattered everywhere, knocked over all at once as if they were pushed. As he films them, the camera begins to lag and stutter, the audio warping slightly, making the whole scene feel even more off. Nick starts backing away, breathing fast, when another loud noise comes from deeper in the room. The footage then abruptly cuts out, ending the clip mid-moment and leaving no explanation for what caused any of it. Late at night on the 23rd of April, 2022, at 11 p.m., A man was unwinding in his quiet house, talking to his dogs the way people do when the calm feels too still. The place had that soft nighttime hush, where every small sound seemed louder and the dogs were relaxed beside him without a hint of concern. He kept chatting with them, feeling comfort in their presence and the familiar routine, when something subtle but unmistakably out of place shifted behind him. Clip. One of the chairs at the dinner table leaned back on its own. One of the chairs at the dinner table leaned back on its own, as if someone invisible had pushed off from the floor, then slowly settled back onto all fours again like nothing had happened. His dogs froze, their ears lifting slightly, but they didn't bark, almost like they sensed something, but chose to stay quiet. The man felt that strange tightening in his chest, the kind that comes when you know you witnessed something you can't explain, but your mind tries to rationalize anyway. There were no drafts, no pets near the dining area, no one else in the house. The moment left him wondering if something unseen had been sitting there all along, listening just as closely as the dogs were. Chris tried to shake off the memory of the chair moving on its own, but a few nights later, his wife mentioned she had been hearing scratching noises coming from their bedroom, the kind that made her feel watched, even when the lights were on. Wanting to prove nothing was wrong, he grabbed his phone and switched to the handheld camera, recording from inside of their bedroom.
But wifey said she'd been hearing scratching noises, or like, she said it sounded like something was in the wall in our room. So I'm gonna take a shower, change my clothes, get in some PJs, and we're gonna go, I guess, sit in the middle of the hallway till we hear something and see what we got. Right now it's 6:52 p.m. Yeah, give me a minute. I'm exhausted too. If I fall asleep, I apologize, but we'll check it out.
A couple of faint orbs drifted across the camera lens, and then those strange little taps echoed from the far wall, spaced out just enough to sound deliberate. He took a few careful steps forward, trying to figure out where the scratching had come from, when the door behind him gave a slow creak. He turned in time to watch it inch toward the frame, as if pulled by something steady and unseen. Then it clicked shut completely on its own. Sitting there with only his phone and the sound of his own breathing, Chris felt the same familiar dread creep up his spine, the kind that told him whatever was in their house had finally decided to make itself properly known. In the following video, CCTV footage from a young girl's bedroom captured something that immediately felt off, even before anything visibly happened. The room was quiet and perfectly still, the kind of silence you only get when everyone else in the house is asleep. A small bucket sat tucked against the wall, where it always stayed, untouched for days, and nothing seemed unusual until the camera picked up a faint flicker near the dresser. Without anyone in the room, the bucket suddenly tipped onto its side, then rolled with a slow, deliberate movement straight toward the middle of the floor, as if guided by an unseen force. A couple of soft orbs drifted across the camera, then another passed through the frame, each one subtle but unmistakable against the dark background. There were no pets running around, no vibrations on the floor, no reason for anything to move at all. The bucket eventually stopped in a spot it had never been before, and the room fell still again, like whatever caused it had finished making its point. Watching it back, it felt less like a random accident, and more like something inside the room was trying to draw attention, leaving behind a quiet question the footage couldn't answer. CCTV footage from the kitchen in the same house showed a late quiet hour, the kind where every shadow sits still, and nothing should be moving on its own. After the strange activity in the girl's room, the family had moved her doll onto a high shelf in the kitchen, hoping to keep it out of the way while they tried to figure out what was going on. The room looked normal in the video, but there was an odd heaviness to the frame, like the space was waiting for something to happen. Without anyone nearby, the doll suddenly tipped forward and slipped from the shelf, falling straight to the floor in a way that didn't look accidental or nudged by any draft. The impact made a muted thud, and for a moment nothing else stirred. The shelf was sturdy, the doll balanced carefully earlier that day, and there was no reason it should have moved at all. Watching the footage back, the fall felt intentional, like whatever had rolled the bucket earlier wasn't confined to just one room and had followed the object into the kitchen to make its presence known again. Late that night, their baby monitor picked up more than just the soft breathing of their other child, showing a dimly lit room that should have been still and safe. The parents had been debating whether to move both kids back into the same room after everything that had been happening, hoping it might make them feel more secure. But the monitor ended up capturing something that pushed that decision into question. An orb drifted across the camera in a slow, floating line, and before either parent could react, the bedroom door eased open by itself, as if someone on the other side had quietly pushed it wide. The baby didn't stir, but the audio picked up a strange mix of noises that didn't belong to a child at all. Soft, irregular sounds that seemed to come from different corners of the room instead of the crib. For a moment, the monitor felt like a window into something they weren't supposed to see. The kind of activity that made every instinct tell them the house wasn't calming down, but escalating. Knowing their child was sleeping peacefully, while the room around them shifted and whispered on its own, made the parents rethink everything, wondering if putting both kids together would really keep them safer, or just expose them both to whatever was moving through the halls at night. After everything that had happened, the parents finally decided it wasn't worth the risk anymore and moved both kids out of their rooms for the night, letting everyone sleep together just to feel a little safer. The house felt different once the bedrooms were empty, quieter in a way that didn't feel comforting, almost like whatever had been causing all the activity was waiting to see what they would do next. They left the doll in their daughter's room from the first clip, partly because they didn't want it near the kids, and partly because they wanted to know if anything else would happen without anyone inside. The CCTV footage showed a close-up shot of the doll, which had been placed upright on a small chair, as it suddenly toppled forward and fell to the floor again, with no one around and no movement anywhere else. It didn't slide or wobble first, it just dropped, like it had been pushed or yanked by something unseen. The chair stayed perfectly steady, the air didn't shift, and after the doll hit the ground, the room went back to being completely silent. That clip ended up being the last strange thing they ever caught on camera, leaving them with the unsettling feeling that the activity had reached its peak and then simply stopped, as if whatever was behind it had finally gotten whatever reaction it wanted. At the Jefferson Palace Hotel, a man working late claimed that a giant decorative candle had been sitting right in the way of a pool player earlier that evening, so he and a co-worker moved it to another spot, just to keep the area clear. The night wind was quiet, the lobby mostly empty, and everything felt normal, except for the small mistake they didn't notice until later. They had accidentally left the front door unlocked. Hours after closing, they returned to check on something and found the candle lying on the ground, even though no one else was supposed to be inside.
Video of something that happened earlier today. So this candelabra, this big giant one right here, was in the way of one of the pool players last night. So they moved it. It's not the lightest thing to move, but they moved it in front of this door. Well, this door usually stays locked throughout the night, but what happened is we left it unlocked. And when I came in the next day, this candelabra was on the ground right here. Now, we do have a camera right here, but you're not going to see what happened on that camera. The other camera is actually way over here in our ballroom area, aimed through here, and we caught this on camera. I thought someone tried to open the door and to get in, and they knocked the candlestick over and then shut it. Well, I go back and look at the footage, and the door actually opened by itself, which could be explained by wind, but it then shut by itself, which is not explainable by wind. So let me show you, first off, you can open this door, and it has a little stop to it. So it doesn't open, first off, by itself easily. Next, if it hits the base of this, it would take a lot to move this. Now, if it did hit the arm up here, it could still fall over, but it would take a whole lot for it to fall over. Well, let me show you. Let me open the door and show you. I can open the door all the way, and it does not shut by itself. Matter of fact, it opens like that. So the footage you're going to see, you'll notice nobody walks by. You can actually see somebody walk by prior to the footage. You see the shadows there and in that window. But this footage, you'll see nobody walks by, door opens by itself, and then the door shuts by itself. So again, I can't really say it's anything paranormal, but definitely not explainable by wind. Let me show you the footage. Okay, so here's the footage. This is in the ballroom area. So I have to zoom way in. You'll hear some music playing in the background because we have some music playing, ambient music. But you'll notice the door at the very top of your screen. In a second, you're going to see somebody walk by. Right there. So there's a shadow of somebody walking by. So when I saw the candlestick on the ground, I figured someone tried to get in or, and accidentally knocked it over. But that's not the case. So I'm going to go to about 25 seconds and you'll see the door open and the candlestick fall. You can tell nobody's there. And now the door shuts. So kind of weird because you notice in the previous video, and I've done a lot of debunking on my videos, but the door doesn't shut by itself. It was not one of those deals where it's like a vacuum with the air conditioning or anything like that. Again, I can't say it's anything paranormal, but can't explain it. So let's watch it again. So we'll just chalk it off to a weird event, and I've never been able to recreate it, but just wanted to show everybody kind of what we capture in this area.
Wondering if someone had tried to break in, they pulled up the CCTV and the man started explaining all the ways the heavy front door couldn't possibly shut on its own, pointing out the weight of the hinges, the way it sticks, and how it takes a firm push to move at all. Then he showed the footage. The door into the establishment slowly eased itself open, like someone invisible had slipped in. Then after a few seconds it closed again with the same steady movement, sealing completely without anyone touching it. The candle's fall suddenly didn't look like an accident, and the unlocked door felt less like a mistake and more like an invitation something had quietly accepted. Later that night in the Jefferson Palace Hotel, one of the staff members was making his rounds through the long hallways, sorting out linens and checking that everything was ready for the morning shift. The halls were usually peaceful at that hour, filled only with the quiet hum of the building and the soft shuffle of his footsteps, and nothing about the routine felt unusual until he reached the far end where the lights always seemed a little dimmer. He paused to adjust something when something caught his attention at the edge of the frame on the security feed he carried with him. A door beside him eased itself open with a slow, careful movement, stopping just wide enough to suggest someone might step out. Then after a moment it swung shut again without anyone touching it. The staff member stood frozen for a second, staring at the door that had settled back into place like nothing had happened, and the silence afterward felt heavier than before. There were no guests in that wing, no draft strong enough to move anything, and the door had always been known for sticking, not swaying. The moment left him with the uneasy sense that whatever had wandered through the front entrance earlier hadn't stayed in the lobby, but had drifted deeper into the hotel, watching from behind doors that shouldn't have been moving at all. When Jensen and Fiona were chilling on the sofa late one evening, the atmosphere was completely relaxed, the kind of quiet night where nothing out of the ordinary should happen. Fiona had her phone out, casually recording as they talked, not expecting to catch anything unusual at all. The living room was still, the lights low, and the piano sitting closed against the wall, like it always was. Suddenly, though, everything changed. Out of nowhere, a single piano key presses down by itself, followed by another, then another. The melody isn't structured or familiar, just random keys being struck as if unseen fingers were testing the instrument. Fiona freezes, the camera shaking slightly as Jensen slowly sits upright, staring directly at the piano. There's no one near it, no pets in the room, and the lid is clearly shut. The keys continue to play for several seconds, echoing through the room in an uneven, unsettling rhythm before abruptly stopping as suddenly as they started. Silence fills the space again, thick and uncomfortable. Fiona keeps filming to show there's nothing and no one that could explain it. Both of them remain seated on the sofa, stunned and unsure of what they just witnessed. After the clip, they admitted neither of them touched the piano, and it hasn't done anything like that before or since. Whatever decided to play that night left them with no explanation and a living room that no longer feels quite as safe. In this clip, from a YouTube channel called Ziggatube, someone is walking through their house late at night with nothing but a flashlight, filming because they've been hearing unexplained noises for a while. The house is completely quiet as they move from room to room, clearly on edge, but trying to laugh it off. As they pan the camera into one of the rooms, they freeze. Sitting in the middle is an old wooden rocking chair, slowly rocking back and forth on its own. No one is sitting in it, and there's nothing nearby that could be causing the movement. The man behind the camera nervously calls out, "Grandpa," half joking but clearly unsettled, as if trying to rationalize what he's seeing. That's when things take a sharp turn. The rocking chair suddenly jerks and turns sharply in their direction. far faster than any natural swing. He panics instantly, sprinting out of the room as the footage becomes shaky and chaotic. The clip cuts shortly after, but the sudden change from gentle movement to that aggressive turn is what makes this video so disturbing. It didn't feel random. It felt like whatever was in that chair noticed them noticing it. Working a night shift in the hospital is already known to be bad, but for Michael, it's a whole different story. He's a security warden, used to empty corridors and long hours, but this night felt wrong from the start. He'd been alerted to a disturbance somewhere in the building and decided to investigate alone, filming as he walked through the dimly lit hallway. The atmosphere feels heavy, almost tense, and the further he goes, the worse it gets. As Michael moves down the corridor, a high ringing sound starts to echo around him, faint at first, but growing louder with every step. By the time he reaches the bottom of the hall, the noise becomes aggressive and chaotic, layered with other strange mechanical sounds that don't seem to belong. The lift doors beside him slide shut on their own. Seconds later, a piece of hospital equipment nearby begins to move by itself, slowly at first, then more deliberately, rolling and shifting with no one touching it. Michael backs away, breathing heavily, trying to keep the camera steady as the noises continue around him. After reviewing the footage later, he said nothing in the area could explain the sounds or the movement, and since that night, he's refused to patrol that section of the hospital alone. In this next piece of footage, dated June 2018, a fixed CCTV camera overlooks a quiet public park in broad daylight. Nothing looks out of the ordinary at first, until one of the swings begins moving back and forth completely on its own. There's no wind strong enough to explain it, and the other swings stay perfectly still.
会社用と個人用のスマホ2台持ってたんで、スマホを置けるような高い遊具もあったんで、そこに1台スマホを置いて撮りました。自分が動かしてるんじゃないっていう証拠になるかな。帰宅中に通りかかったんですけど、心霊現象だと思って、そうですね、ツイッターとか上げようと思いました。あの木の横に人影ががっつり映ってるじゃないですか。こんな映ることありますっていうことで、はい。いや、もちろんその場ではその人がいるのは気づかなかったですし、 気配すら感じなかったですよね。自分が持って撮ってるスマホの方には映ってないですよね。まあそうですね、ツイッターはそうですね、20回ぐらいしか再生されてないんで、まあ普通に消しました。誰も信じてくれないんですよね。
As the swing continues to move, a dark, unfamiliar man can be seen in frame and just stands there watching it, completely motionless. He doesn't touch the swing or interact with anything, he just stares as if he's waiting for something. A few moments later, another man enters the park and notices the same thing. Clearly confused, he pulls out his phone and starts recording the moving swing himself. This is where things get uncomfortable. When the smartphone footage is shown, the swing is still moving in the exact same way, but the dark figure seen on the CCTV is nowhere to be found. According to the timestamps, both recordings were happening at the same time. The CCTV clearly shows someone standing there, yet the phone camera captures nothing but empty space. After the swing finally slows to a stop, both men leave the area. The unexplained figure never reappears, and no one has been able to explain how a person could appear on one camera and not the other. For a lot of people who've seen this clip, it feels less like a glitch and more like something that was never meant to be seen in the first place. Dennis is standing beside a closed door with his colleague Deborah inside a quiet medical facility, both of them mid-conversation, when a sudden loud bang erupts from the other side. Instinctively, he lifts the camera.
Coisa que acontece no meu plantão.
Você vai tirar foto minha aqui, viu?
Não, tem. Oi. Olha aí, olha aí. Não, sabe, deixa eu ver se tem alguém aqui dentro. Tá vendo? Não tem ninguém aqui dentro. Rapaz, minha mesa aqui.
The noise echoes down the corridor, sharp and metallic, like something heavy hitting porcelain. Dennis and Deborah exchange a look before slowly opening the door together, half expecting someone to be inside. Instead, the room is completely empty, containing only a toilet and a sink, both untouched and perfectly still. Dennis pans the camera around to show there's nowhere anyone could be hiding. No other exits, no movement at all. The sound had come from inside that room, yet whatever caused it was already gone, leaving behind a space that looks entirely normal and an atmosphere that suddenly feels anything but. The following day, Dennis returns to the same facility, clearly still unsettled by what happened. Wanting to rule out any doubts, he starts recording before anything occurs.
Coisas que acontecem no meu plantão, parte 2.
Tem ninguém aqui dentro, ninguém. Vou fechar aqui, deixar escoradinho aqui, ó. Tenha calma, você fecha já. Ó, sozinho. Ó, não tem ninguém aqui, ó. Rapaz. É incrível. Aí, ó. Maçaneta mexendo. Fecha aí, olha. Fecha a porta, vai. Feche. Feche. Tá vendo? Tem ninguém perto da porta, ninguém. Ó. Ó a maçaneta, ó. Olha. Ai, ai.
He opens the same door again and slowly films inside the room, showing the toilet, the sink, and every corner to prove there's no one hiding and nothing out of place. Satisfied, he steps back into the hallway and gently pushes the door closed, deliberately leaving it slightly ajar. He stands there in silence, watching. After a few seconds, without any warning, the door begins to move on its own. It slowly pulls shut until it closes completely, clicking into place as if someone had finished the job. Dennis reacts instantly, backing away in disbelief. Afterwards, he entered to confirm there was no airflow, no movement nearby, no explanation. After capturing that, Dennis said he no longer doubts something strange is tied to that room, especially since it seemed to wait for him to come back before making itself known again. We're looking at very old footage recorded in a quiet garden, the kind of place that normally wouldn't raise any alarms at all. The camera quality is poor and slightly washed out, but that almost makes what happens harder to ignore and even more terrifying.
Look at that orb up in the tree. No. Wow, did you see that flashing?
From the left side of the frame, faint, transparent figures begin to appear one by one, slowly drifting across the garden as if they're walking with purpose. Each shape looks vaguely human, tall and upright, but you can see straight through them. As they move toward the right side of the frame, they gradually fade away, disappearing completely before reaching the edge. What makes this even stranger is the background. If you look closely toward the wooded area behind the garden, more human-shaped figures can be seen standing among the trees, barely moving, just watching. They don't cross like the others. They just linger in place, half hidden by branches and darkness. The person filming doesn't react at all, possibly because they didn't notice it at the time. It was only years later, when the footage was reviewed frame by frame, that people realized how many figures were actually there. Whether this was some kind of visual artifact or something far harder to explain, the sheer number of shapes makes this clip deeply unsettling, especially knowing it was filmed long before editing tricks were common. On July 28th, this footage was captured by a couple who had already been dealing with unexplained activity in their home for a long time. Even then, the man behind the camera was still skeptical, brushing most of it off as old house noises or nerves playing tricks. That night, he follows his girlfriend down into the basement, filming mostly to reassure her and prove nothing strange would happen.
Can't believe you have me recording this. What do I know?
You don't know. What if something happens and we don't have any explanation for it? Like I said last time, I'm going to record everything. You don't record it, you don't...
You need to explain that?
That's why I'm tired.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the 50th freaking night in a row. Something's happened.
I think you're exaggerating. Look, it's a basement. Yeah. The fuck is that?
It's broken frame.
Yeah, that happens. What the f...
Okay, we need to go. Go.
Oh, where?
Go upstairs. Go upstairs. Gee, go upstairs. Go upstairs. Go upstairs. Go upstairs.
Fuck, let's go.
Go upstairs.
At first, the basement looks completely ordinary, cluttered with storage and barely lit, but the mood changes fast. Loud shattering sounds suddenly echo through the room, sharp and violent, as if objects are being thrown or smashed just out of view. The camera never catches what made the noise, but seconds later, several items on the floor begin sliding across the concrete by themselves, moving in straight, deliberate lines, with no visible force behind them. The couple freezes, whispering in disbelief as the objects continue to shift before finally coming to a stop once they are already long gone. Whatever caused the crashing sounds remains unseen, but the movement on camera was enough to change his mind completely. After this night, he admitted the basement was no longer just creepy, and the couple said this was the moment they stopped questioning whether their house was actually haunted. A man named Chavez claimed he'd been hearing faint scraping sounds coming from his living room and was convinced his toy cars had been moving on their own while he wasn't looking. Half asleep and clearly nervous, he grabbed his phone and started recording to see if he could finally prove it.
It's 3:30 in the morning. I swear on my life. For freaking toy cars. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. No. No, sir. No, ma'am. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know whether to wake Elizabeth or somebody call Justin Nunley or an exorcist. I don't fucking know. I mean, I'm not scared, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shaking. So I'm just gonna leave it there till the morning for Elizabeth to come play with it. And it's not electronical, y'all. There's no damn motor in that thing. I feel so weird and out of place right now. I don't know if it's still there. To be truthful, I'm thinking about just leaving Elizabeth in Revelation and going somewhere for the night. I don't know what to do. Let's check on her. You still there? Pirates of the Caribbean's getting good. I'm not scared. I'm just kind of freaked out because, like, it's friendly. Hasn't thrown it.
In the footage, the room is completely still at first, the toy car sitting alone on the floor with nothing near it. Then, without Chavez touching it or even getting close, the car suddenly jerks forward in short, uneven bursts, stopping and starting as if something invisible is nudging it along. Chavez can be heard breathing heavier as he watches it move, clearly not expecting it to actually happen on camera. He doesn't interfere or try to test it, instead keeping his distance while filming. After a few seconds, the car comes to a stop right in the middle of the room and doesn't move again. Chavez leaves it exactly where it is and backs away, ending the clip shaken. According to him, this whole situation scares him enough to make him sleep outside. For the next few days, Chavez refused to touch the toy at all and told his wife Elizabeth not to move it either, hoping whatever happened was a one-time thing. But 2 nights later, he woke up with that same uneasy feeling and immediately started filming again.
I actually fell asleep, and this is what I woke up to. Elizabeth. Baby. Hey.
Goodbye.
Okay, no, for real, like, so what are we doing? Oh. Okay. Are you friendly?
We're moving.
I don't think it's like irritated. I fell asleep out here, and I promise you she didn't place it there. Last night, I blessed this cup before I went to bed. So, we're gonna do this together. I'm gonna have Elizabeth hold the phone. Okay, so, in Jesus' name, power of Christ compels you, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I don't think it's evil, man. You know, because it'd be like, oh, weed. Somebody said salt. Hold on.
I don't know if you're supposed to draw a circle around it.
Well, it's a half circle, but I don't think you're supposed to do anything else. I don't know. Y'all got suggestions, let me know.
He quietly wakes Elizabeth and their daughter, bringing them into the room so they can all see it together. The toy car is still sitting exactly where it stopped days earlier, untouched. As they're watching, it suddenly rolls forward again on its own, slowly this time, right in front of all three of them. Elizabeth gasps, and before anyone can even react, a completely different toy nearby starts moving too, sliding across the floor in the same unnatural way. That's when Chavez completely loses his composure. He begins speaking out loud, using religious words and prayers, demanding whatever is there to leave their home. The toys don't respond, they just stop moving, as if they're listening. The clip ends shortly after, with Chavez saying they're moving out as soon as possible. He later claimed the activity didn't stop, but this was the last time he was willing to film it, unsure if what he said actually worked or just made things worse. Sleeping can be hard sometimes, especially when you suffer like the man in our following video, who claims his nights have been getting worse for reasons he can't explain. He starts recording from his bed after noticing strange orbs drifting across his camera in the darkness, slowly floating in and out of frame like something is lingering in the room with him.
Raza, son las 3 de la mañana, se siguen escuchando muchos ruidos allá afuera. Quieren abrir la puerta, Raza. ¿Qué está pasando? Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío, líbrame del mal. Desde que compré ese espejo, Raza. Ay.
As he lies there watching, the door to his bedroom suddenly begins to rattle violently, the handle shaking as if someone on the other side is trying to get in. He hesitates for a moment before finally getting out of bed and opening it, expecting to find someone standing there, but the room is completely empty. Before he can even process that, a small table inside the room suddenly tips over on its own, crashing to the floor without being touched. Panicked, he backs away and retreats to his bed, breathing hard and keeping the camera on a mirror. That's when it gets worse. The door starts knocking repeatedly, fast and deliberate, like someone is pounding to be let in. Each knock echoes through the room while he stays frozen in place, too scared to move. Whatever was making those sounds clearly didn't want him sleeping peacefully that night, and it wasn't done yet. An hour later, after sitting in silence trying to convince himself it was over, he decides to start filming again, this time forcing himself to be brave. He turns the camera back on inside his bedroom, whispering that he wants proof and that he isn't running anymore.
Es la 1 de la mañana, acaban de prender la luz de la sala. Desde que compré ese espejo están pasando todas las cosas raras. A la madre. ¿Qué fue eso? Eso se está saliendo de control ya.
Almost immediately, something horrifying happens. In the doorway ahead of him, a black, head-shaped figure slowly peeks around the corner, just enough for its outline to be clearly visible. The moment he reacts, it snaps back out of sight, hiding again, as if it knows it's been seen. Shaken but determined, he leaves the room and begins checking the rest of the apartment, moving through the hallway, the living room, and the kitchen, showing every corner as proof that no one else is there. Every light is off, every door is empty, and there's nowhere a person could be hiding. When he returns to the bedroom, the doorway is clear again, but the feeling hasn't gone away. Whatever peeked at him wasn't physical, wasn't accidental, and wasn't trying very hard to stay hidden. After everything that happened earlier, this moment convinced him that something was sharing the apartment with him and watching him when he thought he was alone. A woman staying alone in a Lake District hotel room decided to start filming after a series of strange noises echoed through the building late at night. She had been getting ready to go out when the sounds began, dull bangs mixed with faint whispering that seemed to travel through the walls. At first she brushed it off as other guests, but the corridors outside were silent. Uneasy, she turned her camera toward the bedroom and started calling out, asking if anyone was there.
Hello? Oh. Hello? Hello?
The room is almost completely dark as she films, her voice shaky, while the whispers seem to fade in and out. Trying to prove to herself it was nothing, she steps out into the hotel corridor, panning the camera left and right to show it is completely empty. No footsteps, no voices, no doors open. But just as she stands there, frozen, a sharp knock comes from inside her room behind her. Then another. Whatever had been whispering earlier was clearly still inside. The clip ends without her going back in, and she later explains she left the hotel shortly after, choosing to spend the rest of the night elsewhere, rather than stay alone with whatever was knocking from inside her room. The Bearded Explorer, a well-known urban explorer with over 250,000 subscribers, was filming a walkthrough of an abandoned facility he'd explored before without any issues. Confident and calm, he was narrating as he moved down a long corridor, after explaining the history of the place, when something suddenly changed.
Starting to be some really weird stuff in here.
A sharp noise echoes from extremely close to him, close enough that he immediately panics and backs up, breathing faster as he fumbles to grab his camera properly. The moment he lifts it and turns back down the corridor, the reason becomes clear. At the far end, barely lit and almost blending into the darkness, a strange human-shaped figure is standing completely still. It doesn't move toward him, but it doesn't disappear either. The second he notices it, all composure is gone. He turns and runs, faster than at any point in his channel's history, his breathing frantic. After escaping the building, he later admitted he couldn't explain what he saw and refused to return to that location. For someone as experienced as him to react like that, it left viewers convinced whatever was in that corridor wasn't just another shadow. Christopher and a few friends were exploring their abandoned elementary school late in the evening, filming as they moved from room to room, joking nervously about how eerie the place felt after dark. The building had been shut down for years, and they were confident nobody else was inside with them.
والله طفى تلفون شيء والله بتشحن فل طف الحمد لله على البال خليني اسمع الموت كان بطلع لا يبا تعال مش كان بطلع تلفوني طفى ولا كعب على اللي ما يدي التلفون انتوا شو مخليني اخر واحد
Regarde-moi, c'est tellement de...
لا تعال حمام صبايا حمام صبايا.
As Christopher slowly pans the camera across one of the classrooms, everything seems normal at first, just peeling posters and dusty floors. But for a split second mid-pan, something appears in the frame that none of them notice at the time. A small, childlike figure is standing near the middle of the room, partially obscured, and watching them. It's only there for a moment before the camera moves past it, making it easy to miss, unless you slow the footage down. When viewers later pointed it out, the group were horrified. There was no way a child could have been in the building, and the figure didn't match any of their silhouettes or movements. The proportions were wrong, the posture was unnatural, and no one remembered seeing anything in that spot. What makes it even more unsettling is where it appeared, inside a school meant for children, long abandoned and silent. Whatever that figure was, it clearly wasn't supposed to be there, and it seemed to be watching them just as closely as they were exploring the building. This next clip brings us back to Ian, a Midwest ghost hunter some of you might already recognize. But for anyone new here, he's been documenting his investigation inside the same abandoned factory, where activity has been escalating with every visit. This moment happens much later into the night.
Okay, I am not liking this. Who's there? It's like a kitchen. Severed foot. Severed hand. Thank God these are just props. Otherwise I'd have to call the police. Jesus. Feels like I'm in Ed Gein's house right now. Anyone in here? Sounded like something in there. If there's anyone in there, could you peek out from this doorway? Man, I get a creepy feeling looking in there. What the f was that? Something just went flying. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit.
Without warning, the severed hand prop flies off the table as if it were grabbed by an unseen force.
Who just threw that? They threw something off the table.
Ian pauses in one of the darker sections of the factory and asks out loud if whatever is there was summoned to this place, rather than being trapped in it. Almost immediately, faint but distinct banging sounds echo from somewhere deeper in the building, spaced out and distant, like a response rather than random noise. He follows the sound carefully, moving through narrow corridors until he ends up in what looks like an old kitchen area that shouldn't feel as unsettling as it does. On one of the tables are severed foot and hand props, which Ian initially assumes were left behind from filming or some kind of staged setup. But as he scans the room, another unexplained noise comes from a nearby space, and his tone shifts completely. He steps closer, visibly uneasy, focusing on the table again when, without warning, one of the severed hand props suddenly flies off the surface and hits the floor. There's no one near it, nothing touching the table, and no logical force behind the movement. Ian backs up instantly, clearly shaken, realizing that whatever responded to him earlier wasn't finished interacting. The factory had already been active, but this moment made it clear that something there was reacting directly to him. Just as they were about to leave the store for the night, Nick and his co-worker were standing near the entrance, debating whether they should just walk out and grab her keys from the back room later. The lights ahead of them were flickering non-stop, buzzing on and off in a way that felt way too deliberate to be electrical. You can hear the hesitation in both their voices as they start recording, knowing they've dealt with strange things here before.
Okay guys, we were literally just about to leave my store when shit just started flickering again. This is the second time it's happened. My car's over there, and
I'm shaking right now.
okay, and her keys are in the back.
We need to go. We need to go get my keys.
And the light turned on.
I don't want to go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna literally record this whole thing just so you guys can see what happened. I'm literally so scared. Okay, okay, something. The bathroom light's on too.
Bro, why are my keys on the floor? They were not there. Like, my dad put them on the desk. Like, oh my god.
This is literally insane.
As they slowly walk toward the back, something on the front counter suddenly slides off and hits the floor, startling both of them. They freeze in place for a moment, unsure if they should keep going, but the woman advances because she needs her keys from the kitchen. They push forward even though neither of them wants to. When they finally reach the kitchen doorway, they realize the situation has only gotten worse. Random objects are scattered across the floor, like something had been tossing things around when nobody was in there. Nothing is moving now, the lights aren't flickering back here, and no one else is inside the store. But the aftermath is clear as day. Whatever was acting up wasn't finished until they came to see it, and Nick's expression says it all. This store has something in it, and it wasn't happy they tried to leave. In the direct continuation of their video, Nick and his co-worker are now sitting in the back room, huddled around the security monitors while trying to figure out what to do next. They're already nearly 50 minutes past the end of their shift, too scared to walk through the store again, but too nervous to stay inside any longer. As Nick walks around to show something they missed earlier, a thud happens right beside him off-screen, like something had just been thrown across the room. They both jump instantly, backing away from one another while in panic.
Okay guys, we've been sitting in the back for like 20 minutes now, and we're just watching the cameras and stuff is still flickering and going on, but nothing happened back here, and we need to go home, and this is so freaking terrifying.
We're 50 minutes past our shift because of this shit.
We closed at 10, so we need to like, it's so dark because all the light switches are over here.
Stop it, go. Go.
Okay, this is what I mean. This room is over. This is.
Oh my god.
This is what we're dealing with.
Oh my god, yeah. What? Bro, Nick, did you on purpose?
I.
No, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, Nick.
Stop! You're literally. Are you?
No, wait, no. Nah.
No. We literally looked away for like 2 seconds.
Eventually, they decide they can't stay in the building, so they head outside to wait for the manager. Standing by the front windows, they keep an eye on the dark store through the glass, filming just in case anything else happens. That's when the lights above the front counters begin to sway back and forth, slow but deliberate, as if something inside was pacing beneath them. Nobody's in the building now, the AC is off, and the doors are locked. Yet the fixtures keep swinging overhead like someone is still walking around in there. Nick's co-worker started saying she's done coming in for late shifts after the recording, and Nick doesn't even argue. After everything they just watched happen, it's pretty clear the store isn't empty at all. A few days later, Nick is back on shift, this time during the daytime when the store should feel a lot less eerie. But the moment he starts recording, it becomes obvious that whatever's been happening hasn't stopped at all.
Okay, we're gonna peace out for the night. Okay, we're gonna peace out for the night. This is, I can't even put the key in. This is what we deal with at Swirls and Twirls, and no one believes us because Who would? Who really would? And the backlight's on.
This place is fucking possessed by a demon, so I'm
No,
quitting.
the light's still on.
Like, which one?
I don't think we turned it off though. But now the machine lights are on. Good. This is great. This is great. Okay guys, I'm here alone. It's a few days later and it's 6 o'clock. I'll show you the time. The lights are freaking flickering again. The music is being wacky. The speakers are in the ceiling. Like, this is literally insane. And now they stopped. And now they're like, this is what I mean. Nothing. Like, I don't know how to explain this. The switch is right here. This is.
The overhead lights are flickering again, brightening and dimming in quick bursts even though the weather's calm, and the power in the rest of the building is perfectly steady. As he walks through the kitchen, you can hear the store's music cutting in and out, switching itself off for a few seconds before randomly coming back on at full volume, like someone is messing with the system behind the scenes. Nick keeps panning the camera around to show that he's alone up front. No customers and no co-workers near the switches or speakers. The atmosphere feels completely wrong for the middle of the day, almost like the store is trying to prove that time doesn't matter. Whatever made the late-night shift so terrifying is still here, still active, and now it isn't even waiting for the dark. Nick seems very frightened a little near the end, and he later says he doesn't get paid enough for this. And honestly, after everything that's happened, he might be right. Here's the smooth, seamless continuation in your exact TS format, with the transitions flowing naturally into the previous clips. From the woman's perspective now, the video switches to her filming as she and Nick sit together in the back room, scrolling through the CCTV footage to make sense of everything. She explains how, earlier that night, one of the chairs in the front seating area randomly fell over, and the lights all across the store were flickering at the same time, almost like the whole building was reacting to something they couldn't see. They're both pointing at the monitor, talking quietly about which camera angle to check next, when suddenly, a strange noise echoes from somewhere outside the room. It's loud enough to cut their conversation short instantly. They freeze, stare at each other, and within a second, both get up and run out of the office in panic, leaving the camera pointed at the floor.
Hey, it's 11:29. Me and Nick were supposed to leave here at 11 o'clock, but weird shit is happening.
A chair fell. There's lights
Literally,
flickering on the machines.
there is lights flickering everywhere.
A chair fell.
It's freaking me out.
I mean, what the f is that? There's actual footsteps going on in the ceiling right now. And something just fell over here. Is anyone there?
I'm scared. Oh, stop! Stop! Oh my god! Stop!
The footage then cuts directly to the CCTV from earlier that night, showing the exact moment the chair fell. There's no one around it, nothing touching it, and the fall is so sudden it looks like it had been yanked. Right after that, the video switches to handheld footage again, now from the woman's phone, as she joyfully walks through the store. As she approaches the front counter, something crashes loudly to her right. She swings the camera over, and the cash register that had been sitting up on the counter is now on the floor, tipped over on its back like it was pushed hard. She gasps instantly. This entire chain of events makes it obvious that whatever is in the store isn't tied to the time of day, the number of people around, or whether anyone is watching. It shows itself whenever it wants to, and this time it was making sure both of them saw it. A man named Joseph had been dealing with strange noises coming from his bathroom for a few days, so he finally decided to set up a camera facing the bathroom door to see if he could catch anything on film. He explained that he'd leave it rolling for a few hours while he relaxed in bed, hoping the noises would happen again. Take a look.
So I've been hearing some strange noises coming from this bathroom. And so I'm going to set up this camera to record and see if we catch anything. I've never caught anything on camera before, so I'm hoping that this might be the first time, but kind of sounds like scratches.
For almost an hour, nothing unusual happens, just the quiet hum of the house and the faint reflection of the hallway lights on the bathroom mirror. But then, without any warning, as the man enters his room after getting a drink, a dark shadow suddenly enters the frame. It appears on the right side of the mirror, shaped unmistakably like a human figure peeking into the bathroom. It pauses for a brief moment, almost as if watching, then quickly pulls back out of view, as if it realized it had been caught. Joseph wasn't in the bathroom, nobody else was in the house, and the angle of the camera makes it clear this wasn't a trick of the light. Something had approached that doorway, looked inside, and retreated. Whatever had been making those noises wasn't imaginary at all, and now he finally had proof it was watching him. In the follow-up clip, he explains that people kept asking for an update after the incident, so he decided to film again to show exactly what had been happening. He starts in the bathroom with the camera pointed around the small space, proving there is nothing hiding behind the door or in the shower, before he switches the light off, saying the spirit never seems to like it when the room is bright. He then walks out and sits down on the small couch across from the hallway, the house silent, except for his breathing as he keeps the camera aimed at the doorway where the shadow had appeared the night before. He tries to sound calm, almost joking, and jokingly says peekaboo toward the dark corridor.
All right, guys, so you wanted an update. So here is the shower. That's where the cat goes to the bathroom, so nobody's in there. Nobody's in the bathroom. Nothing's behind the door. All right, we're turning the light off because it doesn't like the light. Here's my fiance.
I don't want to be on camera.
Okay.
I don't think we should be engaging it.
It's fine. It hasn't done anything. It's not really being too, like, creepy or anything. It just does. So, we've been playing peekaboo. Peekaboo!
A second later, something steps fully into view. A tall shadow shaped unmistakably like a person moves into the doorway, perfectly outlined, yet completely black, as if absorbing the light around it. He gasps and jerks back in the seat, before it disappears when the clip ends. There is no sound of footsteps, no breathing, no retreating movement. Whatever was haunting him had finally shown itself clearly. In the third part of Joseph's saga, he starts the video by admitting he might have messed up by provoking whatever is in his home with the last peekaboo clip. He sounds nervous this time, the camera shaking slightly, as he stands in the bedroom. He explains that ever since the shadow stepped into view, things in the bathroom have gotten noticeably worse, and he hasn't been able to sleep properly. Then, right as he's talking, the sounds begin.
Okay, guys. I think I fucked up a little bit. You hear that? What the f is that? Charlie, the cat's right here. She doesn't seem to be worried about it.
A slow creaking echoes from inside the bathroom, the unmistakable sound of cabinet doors being tugged or pushed from the inside. Joseph seems very scared, and the noise continues in short bursts, like something is testing them. To prove nothing living could be responsible, he pans the camera down to show his cat sitting curled next to him on the bed, wide awake and staring toward the hallway. Joseph points out that the cat has been with him the entire time, and clearly isn't the one making the noise, and I should add that it's especially since it refuses to go anywhere near the bathroom now. The creaking grows louder for a moment, then stops abruptly, leaving the entire apartment silent again. Joseph knows that he definitely pissed the spirit off, and he's starting to think filming was a mistake. Whatever had revealed itself in the doorway last time now seemed to be actively moving things in the bathroom, and the tension in the air made it clear this haunting was far from over. In the final part of Joseph's saga, he decides he's had enough. The sleepless nights, the shadow figures, the noises from the bathroom, all of it had pushed him to the edge, and this time he stands directly in the doorway, holding the camera out in front of him. His voice is shaky, but he tries to sound firm as he tells the spirit that it needs to leave, saying they are done with its bull and that it is no longer welcome in his home. He barely finishes the sentence when everything shifts for the worse.
All right. I appreciate all the well wishes. I haven't been getting great sleep lately. I don't know if it's because of this, but I'm going to take your advice. It's been slamming the doors again this morning. I'm just going to tell it to get the f*** out of here. Okay? All right, this is it. You are not welcome here. You need to leave. We are done with your bullshit. We are not going to take it anymore, okay? You need to get the f*** out. No, this is bullshit.
A deep, guttural growl erupts from inside the dark bathroom, low enough to rattle the doorframe, and before he can even process what he heard, the bathroom door slams shut with terrifying force right in front of him. Joseph jumps back, swearing under his breath, but still forces himself to grab the handle and push the door open again. Inside, the bathroom is completely empty. No movement, no noise, nothing that could have caused the growl or the slam. The tension in his voice is obvious as he steps all the way in, panning around the room to prove there is no one hiding. The air feels heavier than before, and he admits on camera that he and his cat have been avoiding this room altogether. After this final encounter, Joseph says they're both seriously considering moving out. Whatever is in that bathroom made it clear it wasn't going anywhere, and now it wasn't afraid to show its anger. In the following video, a man was walking through a storage complex late at night when he noticed something strange reflecting off the side of a stack of boxes. At first, it looked like the shadow of a person standing completely still, but the moment he turned the corner to see who was there, the entire space ahead of him was empty. Take a look.
Quiero que chequen algo en esa tarima de ahí. Eso. Y chequen, estoy yo solo. No hay nadie aquí. Ni de este lado, ni para acá. Vean, nada. Puto almacén. Vacío hasta su pinche madre.
He slowly walks down the long, stretched aisle between the rows of storage units, sweeping his light left and right as he passes each gap. But there's nobody. The space is silent, the concrete floors untouched, and no weird sounds echo. The shadow he saw moments earlier should have belonged to someone standing right there, yet there's no sign of movement, no footsteps, and nowhere to hide. By the end of the clip, he's fully convinced he saw something that wasn't human, and he wasn't wrong. Later on, security footage from the facility was checked, and it confirmed that not a single person entered or exited during the time he filmed. Whatever cast that shadow wasn't supposed to be there, and it left no trace behind except the moment it revealed itself. Basements are the most likely place in somebody's house to be haunted, and for Taz, that idea has basically become a daily reality. Activity in his basement has picked up so much recently that he now films every single time he goes down there, just in case something happens. This time, he was carrying a load of laundry down the stairs, trying to act normal, even though he admits the place never feels empty.
A ghost lives in my basement. Activities have picked up, so I decided to record every time I go down there. This time I caught it on video.
He sets the laundry on the counter, the camera catching the whole room behind him while he starts sorting through clothes and loading them into the washing machine. Everything is quiet for a moment, just the sound of fabric rustling, until something in the background suddenly moves. A bright yellow object sitting on the wall shifts on its own in a very obvious way, like someone nudged it. Taz doesn't notice at first, still focused on the washer, but the object continues to wobble before collapsing entirely a few seconds later, falling off the shelf as if pushed. There's nobody else in the basement, no draft, nothing touching it. This wasn't a light object being blown over either. It was something heavy enough that it only ever moves when something interacts with it. For Taz, it's just more evidence that whatever is living in that basement hasn't calmed down at all and might actually be getting stronger.